will never be another like him. And as Sesame Street, I think they got it right. Sending out a tweet just moments ago saying, "We mourn the loss of our friend Robin Williams, who always made us laugh and smile." He certainly did. Our coverage continues now with Anderson Cooper. AC 360 starts right now.
Thanks very much for joining us. When someone can make a friend laugh, even though that friend has just learned he may never walk again, that someone is a person to be treasured. And that's what Christopher Reeve said his friend Robin Williams did for him. And Christopher Reeve said it at that very moment when Robin Williams made him laugh, that he knew life would be all right. Tonight, we've learned that Robin Williams, a treasure to millions, has died. Authorities in Marin County, north of San Francisco, where Robin Williams had a home, say the talented actor and pioneering comedian apparently took his own life. He was 63 years old. A spokeswoman says he'd been fighting depression lately. His wife, Susan Schneider, released a statement. "This morning I lost my husband and my best friend, while the world lost one of its most beloved artists and beautiful human beings. I am utterly heartbroken." She goes on. "On behalf of Robin Williams' family, we are asking for privacy during our time of profound grief. As he is remembered, it is our hope that the focus will not be on Robin's death, but on the countless moments of joy and laughter he gave to millions." And tonight, that will be our focus as well, starting with our entertainment correspondent, Nichelle Turner. Nichelle, such shocking news. All of us, we're literally shaken when we got word of this loss.
Absolutely, definitely, Wolf. And it's one of the more shocking things. I've been covering the entertainment industry for a very long time and covered just about every story you could imagine. And when I looked down and saw this information tonight, I just sat for a second because I didn't know if I really believed it. 63 years old, you said, so young, but he did battle many demons. For 2 decades, Robin Williams did, battle addiction. He was very open about it, one of the few celebrities in Hollywood that talked open about some of his flaws, but he wanted other people to learn from him. We did hear his wife say he was battling a severe depression, but she did also say that she wanted us not so much to focus on how he died, but the joy that he brought to all of our lives with his comedy, with his acting, with his dramatic acting. And there are lots of celebrities that are reacting to this tonight, but Rachel Dratch from Saturday Night Live tweeted, and she tweeted that Robin Williams was the improviser, and that's what I remember about him so much. Whenever you went to interview him, you just kind of put your seatbelt on and you held on for dear life because you never knew what you were going to get. He was always so funny, and when you came out, you felt like you went on a wild roller coaster ride. But I want to take a look back and remember the life and the career of Robin Williams. His high-octane brand of comedy was his trademark public persona, but Robin Williams proved himself an Oscar winner with a strong philanthropic side. Born in 1951, it was in his 20s when Williams was unleashed, first as an American TV star. As Mork from the Planet Ork in Mork and Mindy, Williams became a household name. When the series ended after a 4-year run in 1982, he showed he could do more than make people laugh.
My name is T.S. Scott. What's TS stand for?
Terribly sexy.
The Juilliard-schooled actor unveiled his dramatic side for the first time in 1982's The World According to Garland.
See, I was trained as an actor, so it's not like they have to medicate me.
That serious side earned him Oscar nominations for The Fisher King, Good Morning Vietnam, and Dead Poets Society.
It's the Golden Dude.
He finally won his only Oscar statue in 1998 for Good Will Hunting.
This one, yes. The other ones were just foreplay. It's extraordinary.
But Williams never stopped being funny, even when the topic seemed serious. He helped launch and co-hosted 8 telethons over 20 years to help the homeless.
Men who sleep with chickens and the women who love them.
Comic Relief earned more than $50 million. And even when he talked about his battles with drugs and alcohol, he talked about it with humor.
You were drunk. Well, that's nice of you to say that.
He took 2 trips to rehab, the most recent one in 2006, a process he talked about on Larry King Live in 2007.
What happens is people basically start the process of, just saying no and being among others, and learning that you're not alone and working on giving up.
Do you lose your sense of humor in it?
No, you find it. You're with people who have a great sense of humor.
So you're funny there, too?
Oh, yeah, you gotta be.
In 2009, Williams was rushed to the hospital with heart problems, forced to temporarily cancel his one-man show to undergo surgery. He talked about his recovery on The Ellen Show.
You have a heart surgery, and literally they open you up, they crack the box, and you get really vulnerable. You'll be like, I can't, oh, it's not even a kid, and you get very, very emotional about everything, but I think that's in a way a wonderful thing. It really opens you up to everything.
And with a new lease on life, Williams quickly sprang back into action. In 2011, he made his Broadway acting debut, starring in Roger Joseph's Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo. That same year, he would marry his third wife, graphic designer Susan Schneider. In 2013, Williams would return to the small screen, starring in the CBS sitcom The Crazy Ones, where he would reunite with his old friend Pam Dauber, better known as Mindy.
Never met anybody as screwy as you. You're like an alien.
From stand-up to sitcoms and beyond, Williams would delight audiences for decades with his wacky humor and joyful energy. He was the definition of full of life, and even now, his comic legend is destined to endure. And Robin Williams, we do know, actually, to update some of that information, he did return to rehab in July of 2014. At that time, his representatives told us that he was checking himself back in order to maintain his sobriety, that he, of course, had been battling his addictions for more than 2 decades. And sometimes when you are a recovering addict, you go back in to make sure that everything is working and that you're still on the right road. We don't know if he was struggling. We don't know right now because of his passing, and they're saying that he was battling depression if something else was going on there. But at the time, they said he was maintaining his sobriety. We also know that Robin Williams left 4 movies behind. Night at the Museum 2, that was slated to open in December. Merry Friggin' Christmas, that was going to open in November. He had recently signed back on to reprise his role, Wolf, in Mrs. Doubtfire, one of his romantic comedies with Sally Field that we all loved, a feel-good movie. So he was going to reprise his role there, and he'd also signed on to do a couple of indie films. We saw in 2013 his return to television in a show called The Crazy Ones for CBS. That was much heralded because we fell in love with him when he played Mork on Mork and Mindy, and when he came back to television, everyone thought, well, here he comes again. So it is just a shock tonight to be talking to you and reporting that Robin Williams is dead at 63.
So sad, indeed. I saw him perform stand-up, and he was amazing.
Yes.
On the big screen, the little screen, stand-up, whatever he did was simply wonderful. Michelle, stay with us. In 30 seconds, we're going to show Henry Winkler, who shared the small screen with the then unknown Robin Williams on Happy Days. But here's 30 seconds that electrified TV viewers.
Remember me, Mork from Mork? You once called me the nutso from outer space.
I think I must be dreaming of something like that, I mean, of course I'm dreaming. That's why Mary never heard of me.
Sorry, real thing. I had to zap your mind to make you forget. Didn't want you to go Bozo City.
And joining us on the phone now is Henry Winkler. Henry, I know this must be a huge shock to you. You knew Robin Williams. You worked with him. You had crossover roles, Happy Days, Mork and Mindy. So give us your thoughts right now. What's going through your mind?
It is first of all, good evening. It is unimaginable that this is the reality today. That this incredible human being, incredible, delicate, funny, dramatic human being is gone. When he came to do Happy Days, which I believe was his first role, we usually rehearsed Monday to Friday, and he came in on Wednesday because they couldn't find anybody to play this alien from space that Gary Marshall had thought up. And we started rehearsing, and I realized that I was in the presence of greatness. Hands down, this is not hyperbole. That I just realized my only job is to keep a straight face. And it was impossible because no matter what you said to him, no matter what line you gave to him, he took it in, processed it, and then it flew out of his mouth, never the same way twice. And it was incredibly funny every time. You knew that, oh boy, you're witnessing the beginning of something unbelievably special.
So you knew, Henry, even then, this was not only a genius comic, but a genius actor.
That is so true. And it's not a matter of being perceptive. It's a matter of it was right there. You couldn't miss it. You couldn't miss it for anything in the world. He was electric. He was electrifying. And he was like that no matter what he did all the time. No matter what he did, he was that. It was just an amazing thing.
Yeah, and
to witness him.
He inspired so many of us just by watching him and enjoying what he was doing. It was simply amazing. That's why we're all right now in a state of shock as we try to absorb this news. As you know, it was well known he had been in rehab. He had discussed it openly, including recently. He had battled addiction problems often in his career. I spoke about it very, very publicly. Was there any sense among the people who knew him that things were clearly getting so bad?
You know what? I never saw that. All I saw when I was with him, when I watched him, when we crossed paths, when he was doing his show up the street on Paramount on Lot, all I saw was boundless energy. Was that you? He would work all day. He would go to the clubs at night and do stand-up and work on his act. He always, you met him, and there was a wave of warmth that swept out of him that covered you like a blanket. You know, when he would break for lunch and he was working with Jonathan Winters on his show, Mork and Mindy, they would walk down the street together and all of a sudden just stop. And then they would start to kibitz, and then they would start to improvise, and then they would do this routine. It was in minutes, almost the entire lot was standing there like an open-air theater, watching these two great minds go at it. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But no matter what was happening, it was still better than anything that you were doing.
Yeah. No, he was definitely a genius all around. It's impossible, Henry, I think, to overstate how big of an icon Robin Williams was, whether it was television, stand-up, comedy, movies. He did everything. And I remember Johnny Carson himself handpicked Robin Williams as one of his last two guests before signing off from The Tonight Show. That talent, the speed of his comedy, it was incomparable. You remember that, don't you?
I do. And I want to tell you, irreplaceable. There is no one to now fill his shoes. Those shoes will remain right there, empty forever. And no matter what he did, funny, dramatic, it was always with a depth that left you breathless.
You know, and he brought so much joy, laughter to people, millions of people in the United States, indeed all over the world. Yet inside, he was tormented. He was going through hell. Clearly, he had a lot of depression in him that I guess he could conceal when he went on stage.
Yes, but you know what? I was not privy to that. I never saw that side of him. What I saw was this delight that would twinkle in those eyes, and it was. I have no words. It's just an amazing moment
believe we're not going to have Robin Williams around live anymore, that he's gone. I mean, it's just shocking to a lot of us who have enjoyed all of his career.
Yeah, somehow when you think of Robin, you just think that he will go on and on and on. And thank God we have all of this, all of his repertoire recorded. We have the comedy, the drama, the one-man show. Everything is there for us now to enjoy over and over again. Unfortunately, we will not see the newest creation.
Yeah, and 63, 63, he should have had many years ahead of him. 63,
yeah.
way too young to leave all of us.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So
I know I've said a lot, but I'm speechless. That this great artist is no longer on the earth.
You remember the last time you spoke with him?
The last time I spoke with him was a while ago, but whenever I spoke to him, it always started with a hug. And his famous phrase was, "Papa, hi, Papa." And he called me Papa. I'm sure he called everybody that he knew. That was just his affectionate phrase, but it just warmed you as if you were in a warm bath.
So sad. Henry Winkler, thank you so much for sharing some thoughts about Robin Williams on this very sad night as we try to absorb this loss. One quick note before we take a break. The last tweet that Robin Williams posted on Twitter was on July 31st to his daughter. He wrote this: "Happy birthday to Zelda Ray Williams. Quarter of a century old today, but always mine." And then he linked his message to this Instagram photo of the two of them when both were a whole lot younger.
Anderson Cooper 360.